Good day. This is Sunday, February the 5th, 2017. Friday paper of the Comox Echo. Ross Jason Bowen Lie. Anyhow, today I would like to talk about computers and the scam of a computer. We can buy Xboxes and Sony PlayStations that play Blu-ray or DVDs. They can go on the net and surf as well and chat online as well. We have to spend $2,000 sometimes for a high-end gaming computer when we buy our motherboard and processors, memory, and video cards separately, not including our accessories of being a headset, a mouse, and a keyboard, and a 32, or a 38, or a 65, or a 20-inch monitor. This is the problem why it's a scam. If we could play all Xbox games for 5 years on one unit, and every time you buy a PC game, you have to upgrade every year your CPU and your memory most of the time. And to keep that game on the hard drives most of the time, you used to have to delete it till it came out with 1 terabyte at an affordable cost. The Xbox has an OEM already built into it for their server. All motherboards have never changed since the beginning of time. They still have the same headphone jack in it. They still have the same connector for the original VGA on it. They've made USB from 1, 2, 3, and 4, whatnot. A processor still is the same as the Commodore 64 and the Apple, and the memory. They've come up with HDMI, they've come up with digital sound cables, and all they've done is change the little adapters from coax to those things. Same as this. Where is it right now? You look at my Apple iPod connector, which is obsolete too. I can't even use the voice recorder on it because they took all the apps out for my Apple iPod. You got USB to the special connector that goes on the back, and all they had to do is put a USB to USB. Why? They had to be special and do it and make it more difficult for another human being. Our webcams, well, an old Canon FEB.5 power shot, 7.1 megahertz, just like the Logic camera in front of me. Why didn't they come up with a Sure Shot that was a webcam as well? All you did was put it on the iPod dock, just like I've told Hero and other camera companies like Logic, that you make a camera, it sits in the tripod, hooks up, now you got a 3-in-1. It's a webcam, it's a video camera, and it's better than having just a webcam sitting there. So you don't have to have 6 different devices. Just like the Zoom, it's a webcam and a portable HD. No difference in having a old flip one. It looks like a cell phone, and it looks like an iPod. Why didn't an iPod come up with a camera at the same time? The first HSD drive, 160 gigs. Now they're saying it runs quicker and faster. Why doesn't all OEMs of Microsoft, Windows 8 and 10, or future 11, come on an SD card of, 240 minimum, or 300. Standard procedure. Not a disk anymore, because a disk is an SD card, just in a hard case. There you go. The future of Microsoft. Quit scamming us and giving us an SD card with our OEM on it. iPod, put back on their apps for all their stuff so I can use my iPod properly as well, because it's not out of date, or replace it with something new. Handing my pain and suffering that it took me a year to save up for a device that costs $300. Like my first computer, every part costs about $500. The processor, the memory, the video card, and the motherboard. It all should be in one, just like the Xbox or the Sony PlayStation, like I said, so I don't have to have an upgrade. All my video games are just like the Xbox games or Sony PlayStation games, and I should never have to upgrade for at least 5 to 10 years to play all those games. Because why? That's a scam. If I can't find a motherboard with the processor built in, like the Commodore 64 and the VIC-20 and the old Apples, that's standard to run in there, like the $300 computer you can buy at Best Buy, that's just as good as the Xbox, but can't play video games on it because the video card's not good enough, or play a Blu-ray or a DVD, then it's a scam, because I can go out and buy a $30 DVD player or a $70 Blu-ray player and play Blu-rays, and I don't need some power DVD program for $75 every year to upgrade either, which VLC doesn't have due to the fact of it's a freebie by donations. I look at my Windows Movie Maker as well. Hey, it could use some better editing things on there in its program too. I look on here and it's called, what is it called? Real quick. I have to look at my eye. Go to history of YouTube. Sorry about that. I wasn't prepared for this one. And have a more upgraded version of it as well. Oh, it's not loading. It's called, okay. It's called the Filmora Wondershare. It should be equal to a Windows Movie Maker as well. Processing from my flash drive to a hard drive should have a faster transfer speed as well on the computer as well. As well, an OEM might be faster having a built-in chip to it. And like I said, a standard chip size. Without a chip in a motherboard, it doesn't work, and memory as well up to speed, 8, 16, or 32 gigs. Meaning, a motherboard is really a processor as well, and you just have to add that chip called the processor to it for it to work, so it's a scam because you have to buy in each individual piece. Okay, there you go. Now you have two different versions. You have a laptop or a new motherboard with the chip in it that can play all Blu-rays and all games at DVD level, and you have one, just like the Sony PlayStation, that now is like this. It has a better video card, so you can play Blu-ray and all the games as well as get on the internet highway and play. We pay for the infrastructure tax for all phone lines and cable lines and get double taxed by Shaw or TELUS to use their services as well, which is worth about $5 a month, not $70. You used to be able to buy a modem and plug those in as well. All Commodore 64s was if you look it up, a keyboard, the processor and everything was underneath it, 1.5, memory as well. If you had a floppy disk, it was on the side, or a tape. Or you slide the in the back, just like a video card, the game or the modem in the back, which was 400 or 900 baud, which was just text at the time with many different types of symbols on the keys for coding and whatnot. Scams of the future. When's the Xbox going to come out with a mouse and keyboard as well? And basically, why doesn't all motherboards have a TV tuner in so you can watch it and use it as a PVR too? And bring back Windows Entertainment System then, so we can use it as a PVR, flip to channels that we want, and record what we want to on Windows Entertainment System. Microsoft, Asus, Gigabyte, Alienware, Logic, and every other computer company out there, Corsair, Ballistic. When are you going to stop scamming us with stuff that's 20 years old that you could have brought out 20 years ago, knowing the advancements? Processor still looks like a processor. It's still square, and you haven't changed anything in it. You lying to us? Is it any faster than 10 or 15 years ago? I don't think so. Like I said, megapixels for a camera, yeah, it may or may not change as well. Little features like you have on your iPhones and whatnot to zoom in, we have the same thing as well on our editing on anything as well. Fix your movie maker, fix the transfer speed, fix the sense of every time you have an OEM that it doesn't have an SD card that goes with it or built into a chip on every motherboard. A standard motherboard with all the goods on it all at once, instead of having 16 different types, because every 2 years or every year is too much for people to handle of financial difficulties. It's like a terrorist. You're causing financial difficulties, always having to upgrade to have some type of entertainment. And if we can buy a Blu-ray or a DVD player for $35, a computer that has to be upgraded just for a video card to play on the exact same TV monitor in your front room, being 65-inch at 1080p. $35 or $300 to $2,000 plus. Like I said, when are we going to stop being scammed? And flash drives that went from 1 gigabyte to 32 gigabytes, and iPods that are flash drives that we can't transfer data onto either, or change it into any type of MP4 player. There's some things to fix in the world. I've sent my news out to all the computer companies via Facebook and email. Maybe you'll get back to me too. Send me some information or stuff to test. I'm just a bum who sits around and uses the computer system and sees what I can do on it. Can't play video games. My mind's turned off right now. I'm a zombie because of Invaga Sustana and an assault brutality by our government and police departments of Canada, and an unlawful justice system of discrimination and degradation, of human rights laws and ethics violations. And we're all overpriced in this country. If this comes off the assembly line as $5 and being sold for $300, just like a computer, or a pair of shoes that cost $2 off the assembly line, and $50 for any retailer to buy a pair of shoes, or $75, then turn around and sell it for $200 because they have to pay their operating costs, lighting, mortgages, rent, and employee fees, and insurance, and product loss. If things were cheaper, more people would buy them, people would be happier, and you'd have a better productivity in any retail outlet, and the people as well. Less crime too. People can afford stuff. Oh well, you're paying us to test your products, tell you what's wrong with it, and you listen or you don't, causing us psychological and financial harm, and then we don't buy it because it's a piece of crap. There's your justice right there. Drop the rate if you want us to be lab rats testing out your stuff that you want to get new stuff for next year and wasting everybody's time and effort. Just like designing a car, just changing the angle of it and putting a different look of a tail light on it. And some dumb computer that costs $750 to hook up, saying it's better emissions, so a mechanic makes work. Because 100 years ago, we didn't have mechanics, we didn't have electronics, and computer techs, and cable lines and stuff like that. What, 50% of the jobs today didn't exist 100 years ago? Necessities of life. If you take all electronics away, food, clothing, and housing, then we're right back to going to the theater and watching a play on stage that looks stupid, really, compared to a real good movie like 300 or Black Ship or Pirates of the Caribbean, Indiana Jones, or The Great Escape, telling us things about history, video books, and guess what? There's no copyright on language saying, hi, who do I pay for my education? Later.